in fact, an understanding of the United States of the limbo type of the situation that the Israeli government is in, that it cannot take decisions that are good for Israel and have to relate to pressures from the extreme right in the decision-making process. This has been going on for months, and this contradicts the United States strategy of creating or pacifying the Middle East, and therefore the interest of the United States, certainly of aligning the Islamic states along with its policies towards China and Russia, and Israel is required to cooperate in that matter, which means be able to solve the Palestinian issue, starting in Gaza and then also on the West Bank. So as the Israeli government is unable to make its own decisions, President Trump has, and requires Israel to streamline its policies along. And this is what we're seeing now, whether you want to call it a sovereign state or not. It is a sovereign state, but we are a sovereign state. But the price for working against the Trump administration has been made clear, as Netanyahu was called over and got the Zelensky treatment from Trump. And what we're seeing now is that the 20-point plans that Israel is required to go along with are watched carefully by the Trump administration so that we don't stray away from that plan. It's, I think, also a blessing for Netanyahu as he's able to present this to his right-wing ministers, I think, as we saw in the last few days.
So many people do believe that Netanyahu at this point will have to do as Trump says, whatever Trump says, despite what Netanyahu says and tries to project. What are your thoughts on this, Koby?
I think that Trump is now ruling or dictating, if you may, the next step of his vision about Gaza 20 points plan. I think that he's determined to eventually come up to the point where he will have his own luxurious hotel and casino. The only thing for now is that the first point that was presented back in February, that was all about giving the Palestinians the option to relocate, is now looking a little bit different in the sense that the relocation program is off. And the trying of rebuilding Gaza is on. We do see that some of the Muslim moderate state are not willing to send in troops. We both looking at both countries and Egypt. And into that vacuum, we do get to see that Turkey, or at least the civil forces of Turkey, are now playing a significant role within the Gaza Strip. And I don't necessarily think that this is something that we expected or wanted to happen. But since their situation there is not, we never talked about the day after. We just wait till the Messiah will come or Trump will come. Now Trump came and he's dictating to us, other than we will be leading, we're leaping behind, and we have to do what, Trump planned, because we don't have any other plan, as, unfortunate as it is.
Well, that must be somewhat of a challenge. That must be problematic in some ways, because how should Israel balance its need for U.S. military and diplomatic support with its desire to maintain complete control over its decisions, such as airstrikes in Gaza in retaliation to certain attacks by Hamas, or the deployment of foreign troops? That this is an issue that Israel doesn't, opposes some troops from some countries. What do you think, Relik? You're a military man. You've been a commander in the army. How do you think that Israel should balance these two things?
Well, no country, no man is an island. There's a saying, and no country is one either. If we look at world history, there's always been a dominant force and then proxies. And we've turned ourselves, maybe through some short-sighting, into a proxy of the United States. They learned how to work with Israel through spins. I'll give an example. The first spin was getting the Turks into the forces going into Gaza. We opposed this, and the United States agreed to take the Turks off. The next spin, if you will, is the mention of the name Barghouti by President Trump. And he said, maybe I'll make a decision whether he is taken out of jail or not. And he said he didn't say, we'll wait, we'll pressure Israel. He said, I'll think about this. And he's getting ready for the Palestinians to have a leader in the post Mahmoud Abbas period. And that means that they are number 19 on the plan is a something of a Palestinian state of a sort. This is in order to appease the Saudis and some of the countries that will not go into the Abraham Accords. That means that this is where they are going. You know, military-wise, we've become very dependent on the United States as European countries are more or less I wouldn't say turn against us, but turn against the government. And here I unfortunately have to separate between the interests of Israel and the interests of this government, which are not the same. And this is where the Americans are driving a wedge. And we're going to see more of this as we get closer to the elections.
But you know, Relik, that some media reports suggest that the U.S. played a role in curbing Israel's immediate response to the deadly attack in Rafah, which saw Israeli soldiers killed. Is it possible that Israel wanted to break the ceasefire and respond and couldn't? And if so, when is Israel permitted to protect itself in the meantime?
Well, the decisions are going to be taken in Israel, but in Kiryat Gat. Where the Americans have set up a command center. This is where the decisions will be taken by CENTCOM in order to make sure that neither side operates against the interests of the United States. And so military-wise, we are curbed by the commander of the CENTCOM Center. And we should recognize this and look at reality in the eyes.
Koby, we've seen senior U.S. officials such as J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio visiting in Israel last week, along with Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner, even President Trump himself, who was here over the last 2 weeks. Do all of these visits reinforce the claim that American leadership will take the lead here, in your opinion?
Yes, of course. That's exactly what it needs to be interpreted. President Trump is looking into fulfilling his next step in connecting between Asia and Europe through Saudi Arabia AI program. As Sam Altman back in May said that we need to get the AI to the energy rather than the energy to the AI. And the plan that Donald Trump is playing is to get to the finish line, 2027, on AI that is beating China. And his interest in the region mainly focusing on energy. On other sections of the world, such as Malaysia, where he's right now, is signing on a contract that related to rare earth materials. But in our area, we're looking at the very importance of getting some of the pressure from the electricity grid in the U.S. that now is already 4% going to the AI, and it will come to around 12% at 2027. They cannot hold AI by itself. So Israel is very crucial, important component in his greater plan to beat China by 2027 in AI strategy, where we need to gather all under his vision to have the corridor between India through Saudi Arabia, the Gulf states, Jordan, Israel, and Europe. So we cannot stop it. Somebody is trying to stop a bulldozer finish as a toast. And this is actually what he's trying to reflect here after he managed to do what no one believed he can, pay up front in 20 live hostage in one day. I would assume that most of the world could not believe that it will happen, but it happened. And now he's rushing into his plan. He don't have too much time under his hand. It's only 3 years. He wanted to do it back in May when he visited Saudi, but the war in Gaza was there. So we're looking at the option of him pushing as hard as he can to get the, as he said himself, by the way, that he believed that the Abraham Accords will enhance by the end of this year. We'll have more countries, maybe Indonesia, maybe even Malaysia, Saudi Arabia and other, to try and create his vision about the AI.
And, Trump says that he deserved the Nobel Peace Prize for these efforts. He set a goal. He's definitely trying to see it through.
I definitely do believe that he deserved the Nobel Prize. And I think that next year, the committee in Oslo will have very big difficulties to explain, because this time it was just on 1 or 2 days short. They fell short. I just can't see how next year they're preventing him his Nobel Prize. And he's aiming, and his goal is to get that Nobel Peace Prize.
And we know that when Trump has a goal set, he goes after it. So now...
Yep.
Sorry. My question is, how does all of that plan play out with Israeli autonomy in practice?
Well, Israel will have to obey. This is as simple as that. Israel is... Don't forget something which is extremely important, Sivan. Benjamin Netanyahu has been narrowing his impact to American politics to the Republican Party only in the last decade, believing that this is the future of Israel. But in the last few months, we saw that even within the Republican Party, a certain or even a big part of it is becoming anti-Israel. And since we've been gambling on the Democrat Party, for instance, when President Trump is signing against the Constitution to give to Qatar a kind of a treaty, a defense treaty. And by the Constitution, it's only the Senate with 67 majority senators voting to approve it. Not even one single Democrat senator stood up against him in what considered by the Constitution as the prerogative of the Senate. This is how bad the situation of Israel has played in the last decade in gambling on just one side of the political arena. And this is now what we need to, it is no longer even half of the side of the political arena, it's a quarter, because within the party there's differences of approaching Israel.
Now, Relik, I want to ask you, can Israel agree to Pakistan serving a role here?
It's a good question. Can we agree? But you could ask actually the opposite question as well. Could we disagree? There's the Pakistanis are well connected to the Saudis, by the way. I think they've signed an agreement a while ago about using nuclear power, and as such, and an insinuation towards Iran that the Saudis can go nuclear via Pakistan. So they are a part of the game. And I think President Trump would go for this because having Pakistan on the American side, especially when we see what the Indians are doing, is a very important part of his plan. So I think we won't have much to play against in this case. They're not Turks. They're not anti-Israeli in rhetoric. And so I think this will probably not be something that the Israeli leadership will go against, because they will be losing a lot of credit if they do.
What do you think, Koby?
I think that the joint treaty between Saudi and Pakistan signed just a few months ago, and by the way, Saudi was the one who sponsored the atomic program of the Saudis. So it was there long before it, and now it is becoming much more, let's put it this way, on the table in that sense. And I think that Trump is looking also into enhancing his ties with Pakistan. Don't forget that Pakistan served him or his name to the committee, whereas India decided not to, and Trump decided to unleash them with 50% tariff, because Moody didn't send a letter to the committee. Though he called it that it is embargo on Russian oil purchasing, but the truth is that, and we all know, it is because he wasn't part of the Pakistan serving to the Nobel Committee the letter to hand Trump the Nobel Peace Prize. So we're looking at it's international, very complex, that is being led by one person and one person only, which is Donald Trump, and is sometimes his own personal gain in the international era.
And sometimes very unpredictable as well.
If I may mention as well that the Indians have joined the BRICS, the non-committed, what we call non-committed countries with Russia, Brazil, and so on, and are trying to wield their own power and not go along with the Americans. This is also part of the game.
Now, Koby, what do you think about this new appointment of Amjad Shawa as the head of the new technocratic board that will govern the Gaza Strip? Is he pro-Hamas in his DNA?
Well, I tried to get a look into what he was thinking. I haven't been able to relocate too much things that he talked about as the new role as a governor, as a regional governor, if you may. We will need to see how it is when he will be here. So, I thought that you're talking about the appointment of the Americans, because now I get to see that that's the new appointment of the Gaza. So about him, I don't know. I'm not dealing with Mediterranean affairs, but there also somebody who was appointed by the administration to govern from Kiryat Gat. I tried to find some materials about him. It was something that just came out this morning, and I haven't been able to relocate something that it said. But you know, the fact that there's being relocated someone into a job that there's already an ambassador here, a sitting ambassador, I would feel much more nicer if we wouldn't have somebody, you know, as a supreme governor of this whole Kiryat Gat infrastructure, would have that say.
And Relik, what do you think about this head of the new technocratic board that will govern the Gaza Strip?
Well, the technocratic board is subordinated to the directorship under Tony Blair. So it's not, I don't think, I'm not sure he's going to work from Kiryat Gat. But the question is, what type of Arab leaders will take this job, in the very complicated job in Gaza? Obviously, he needs to be accepted by most parties, of which we're not a part of. And if he is not a Hamas member, then there is very little that we can do about this, as he needs to appease all the parties that are playing in the game. And so I think we will have to bite the bullet on this one.
Should we be concerned, do you think?
I don't think we should be concerned. Again, it is led by Trump, under whom Tony Blair is going to lead. I think I have at least a lot of respect for Tony Blair, and I think he understands the Middle East better than a lot of people, including Israelis. And he's certainly not anti-Israeli. He spent a lot of time here and has a lot of friends here. And so I wouldn't be worried at this time.
And Koby, you wanted to say something? Just 10 seconds, though, because we have to wrap up.
Stephen Pagan, CMCC, is a senior diplomat, and he will be running the effort of the leading from Kiryat Gat. So he's actually the one that I was talking about him, that he was appointed by the administration to lead the effort, and it is on top of the ambassador.
Okay.
So that's kind of awkward. We need to swallow.
We have to wrap up, though. Thank you very much, Dr. Koby Barda and Relik Shafir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.